5 things that you can do to change your life. Now, at face value, it may sound like a throwaway cliche that you heard many times over. But I'm going to try to give you my own spin on it, as I do with everything, and speak on it from experience. So the first thing is to read more. Now, obviously, you heard that before, but there's still a lot of us who just can't seem to find time to read, or, oh, I just can't manage to just sit down for that long to read and things like that. You're doing yourself a disservice. And I've said this before, and I truly believe this, is that the wealthiest institution collectively, are the libraries. Okay? You don't want to overlook such a thing. And we have so many free resources that are worth trillions, and I may be a little too low in estimating that, but I mean, one book right now could change your whole outlook on life. It will force you to look beyond your fishbowl, and it will force you to see that there's a much bigger world out there. That's something that you're not going to get from your day-to-day life. And especially if your day-to-day life is a bit robotic, that just strengthens the glass of the proverbial fishbowl. Okay? Even to this day, I mean, a lot of people, they call me smart, they call me a genius, whatever. But even to this day, the more I learn, the more I realize that the world is a lot bigger than I once thought. And I'm not the type of person who actually sees himself as smart. I'm just always a student. I'm always learning something. So every time I get a new piece of information, I'm just taken aback. I'm just like, wow, I did not know that. But it's the type of I did not know that it has this type of shock value that instills a bit of wonder in you. Like a little extra bit of hope that there's something more out there for you. Like, I'll give you an example. Like in learning different ways to use my money, because growing up, no one taught me about the stocks and how you can invest in real estate liens and how your money can appreciate through this and that. The only thing I've been told was, you get a good job, you put it in a savings account, and you retire. But anybody who knows a little something understands that path is heavily flawed, man, for many reasons. And by the way, I mean, a savings account is doing nothing for your money. Like, you might get yourself a little interest, but with the inflation, you are losing spending power, as I've learned, and there are better places to put your money with low risk. One example, and I'm only going to give you one example because I actually want you to further your research on this, because this video is not about money, is treasury bonds. Okay, you get a better return on your investment through that. Now, obviously, we got the Roth IRA, the traditional IRA, yada, yada, yada. But I'm just saying, and Warren Buffett says it, so I mean, take his advice. The more you learn, the more you earn. Like, we can plead white privilege all we want, and of course white privilege is a bit of a thing in this country, but with the tactics that he laid out, you can very much follow suit. It's practical principles. And the man is in his 80s, probably 90 now, I'm not sure, but he's at least in his 80s. Like, don't compare yourself to him, and you're not even 30 yet, and the man has been investing pretty much his whole life. Okay, you just start where you are. So, and that's the thing, you start where you are. You start from the beginning of a book and you make it to the end of the book, and you will end that book wiser than you were before. And then you do it again with another book, and another book, and another book, and another book. There's a reason why the top CEOs read at least 50 books a year. And if you aren't accustomed to reading books, if you haven't read books in a year, it would make all the difference to start by reading 10 books in a year. And if you can fit in more than that, because you can, read 25 books. I mean, just go. I'm probably on pace to read about 40. You know, not only have I been slacking a little bit, but I'm a slow reader, even though I have had some success with speed reading. But anyway, I'm forever reading something. I'm forever getting my information from somewhere, YouTube, whatever. But I still feel like no matter if you are learning outside of books, that you should incorporate books into your life. Read. Number 2, meditate. Again, it's a cliche, but this is the one thing that saved my life, and it came on the cusp of some of the worst days of my life, some of the worst depression of my life. And it allowed me to separate from this body and understand that I am not actually this body, but a spiritual being existing in it. And from a physical aspect, it doesn't feel like it, but I've been practicing, my spirituality for 6 years. For over 6 years. Time does go by pretty fast. And it allowed me to find a deeper meaning in everything. It's because we get so caught up in this external world that we just totally lose sight of the things that are happening in the spiritual realm. So a lot of us that are affected, mentally, emotionally, with the day-to-day life and all these ongoings and all these conflicts, we don't pay attention to the fact that the spiritual realm is probably even more so affected, and definitely even more so neglected. So we try to give ourselves these external remedies. We try to find external remedies to heal internal problems, and most of our problems are internal. Let's face it. And although the spirit isn't entirely responsible for who you will end up being in life, you can use your spirituality as the starting point. That's why it's a great practice to start your day off in meditation. Get your mind right. Your mind is most impressionable. So when you meditate, you get on some upbeat music, you listen to some positive information, and you shake that doubt off of you. You shake the uncertainty off of you. You control how this day is going to go. We all know the power of starting our days off on the wrong foot. We start our days off with an attitude, it just seems like everything just failed from that point on. But we start off offbeat, and I guess, we start our day off upbeat. I guess a lot of us working people, that would be Friday. I'm glad it's Friday. Woo woo, Friday, woo. We partying, we dancing, and then we got the music cranking, we on our way to work, we early, all of that. And then our day ends up just being fantastic. Nobody gets in your way, nobody bothers you, everybody's happy or whatever. And maybe it's a collective conscious thing that leads us to feeling this way, but who's to say you can't feel this way on Monday, man? Because there's no guarantee that you're even going to make it to Friday. So why even hold off for the weekend? Which is probably a different, that's a different topic altogether. But you start to realize just deeper things. You start to become more realistic, more logical with the ongoings of life. And that's why I recommend meditating. It actually does work, but you have to be open. You can't be sitting through meditation just doubting it the whole time, being cynical, because you're getting your own way. That's blockage. That's the very blockage that you're trying to get rid of, the reason why you're meditating anyway. So meditate. Number 3, be of service to others. If someone were to ask me, what to do if I feel like, what should I do if I feel like I have nothing else going for me? If they ask me that question, I would probably, honestly, I would recommend everything on this list. But just to word it in a different way, what could I do if I feel like I just have nothing working for me? My back's against the wall, I feel overwhelmed, I feel like I'm drowning. Be of service to others. Separate yourself from your troubles. This doesn't mean disregard them, but as I said in the last video that I just recorded, that you will find healing in healing others. You will find your purpose there. You will find that you actually have a lot more to give than you once thought, and it feels great to be appreciated. Now obviously you're going to come across people who will take advantage of you, but you shouldn't let that dictate how you're going to treat the next person, because everyone is not like that. Everyone is not ungrateful. There'll be some people who are just glad they stumbled across you, glad they met you. And I know this to be true because this is my case. I hear it all the time, and the eyes don't lie. You can tell the sincerity from their eyes. So even though you got problems, mountains of problems even, don't forget that you aren't the only person in this world. Other people have it worse, and you could be of great service to other people. You know, one by one, just help people, man. It doesn't have to be a big thing. Just help people. Number 4, play chess. I've always said that if you can play chess, you can outthink most people. You don't necessarily have to be elite, but you know, if you played a couple games, you beat some people online, preferably. You know, you're already in the habit of thinking ahead, because we know life is. There's a reason why there's so many analogies. It's chess, not checkers. Chess, not checkers. You're playing checkers. I'm playing chess. You know, and it's a reason why chess made it this. You know, made it this far. And just like any other sport or game, whatever, it's entertaining, but there's different element to it. Because there's so many moves that you can make in chess, just like there's so many moves that you can make in life. And you can tell a lot about a person's decision making by their chess game. You know? Do they second guess themselves? Are they just making moves? You know, are they just trying to get themselves forward without understanding the consequences of it? Are they leaving themselves open and susceptible to a hit? Are they foreshadowing? Telegraphing. Are they telegraphing their next move? Are they too anxious? Are they not patient enough? Are they taking up too much time? You learn these things from the chessboard. Not to mention all the cognitive benefits that you get from it, and of course the patience that you learn from it. It's enjoyable, it's meditative, it's competitive. You know, it teaches you team building, it teaches you how to prioritize. You know, it teaches you to make calculated moves. And a lot of people, they end up in jail, unfortunately. They learn how to play chess, and they learn how to read, and they learn how to meditate, and their life is better because of it. They leave the establishment as better men, because jail is supposed to be a rehabilitation center, and those three things right there are great rehabilitation tools. So although they get paid like shit in jail, and the 13th Amendment pretty much considers them slaves, the individual can benefit from taking those necessary steps, which aren't necessarily mandated. And number 5, give up your roadblocks. Okay? If you know smoking weed is working against you, smoking cigarettes is working against you, drinking liquor is working against you, having too much sex is working against you, give it up. Give up one pleasure for an even greater one. You know, it's simply not worth it to have a couple seconds, minutes, even hours of joy. It's not worth having if it means you're sacrificing something greater. You know, and I'm not putting anybody out there. It just one thing that this reminds me of is someone that I know who will, you know, save up all his hard-earned money just to spend it on vacation and be gone for 10 days, 7 days, even sometimes 2 days. Thousands of dollars. And with that type of money, man, you could leverage your life in such a way where you can build a life that you won't necessarily have to vacate from. I hope that's making sense. You know, I'm not trying to say don't have fun and things like that, but you don't want to rob yourself of your future by trying to have a little fun now, you know. Now, obviously, the future isn't promised, but I would still try to plan for it and try to find joy in these moments, which doesn't necessarily have to be expensive, and it doesn't necessarily have to cost you, you know, what could be. Because let's say you do make it to be 45, you make it to be 65, whatever it is. You can be looking back at yourself with a lot of regret. Just like right now, at whatever age you are. You may be in your 20s. I'm like this myself. I'm almost 28 years old. I look at my 18-year-old self just like, man, oh boy, you really messed it up. You know, there are so many different routes you could have taken. But all I have is now. And I understand these principles, and that's why I'm giving it to you. And these 5 things right here will help you change your life. And obviously, there are many other things that I can think of, and I'll probably make a second video, a third or fourth. But I didn't want to go too long. I just want to put something out there for all of you to benefit from. And I hope this helps. Take care.